Welcome to the B&M podcast, y'all, where we talk about books, anime, and movies. This is your host, Mir, and I'm with my boy B. And today we're going to be talking about, you want to tell me what we're talking about today, B?
We're talking about the upcoming anime awards, specifically Anime of the Year. They got 6 nominees this year. We're going to talk about the shows, what we thought of them, and at the end, we're going to have open discussion and, say what we think is going to win.
Yeah, y'all, I ain't gonna lie. We did a whole bunch of research. You know what I'm saying? From watching all the animes that, are nominated, from taking notes. We even had pre-discussions about some of the animes that we had to stop ourselves because we're like, no, we got to save it for the episode so it's not like a repetitive conversation. I do have my notes on my phone, so I will be looking down to talk about them. I don't know if Brandon's gonna be doing the same thing. But the things that are nominated, the animes that are nominated for this year are Dandadan, Delicious in Dungeon. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Delicious in Dungeon. We got Frieren Beyond Journey's End. We got Kaiju number 8. We have Solo Leveling, and we have the Apothecary Diaries. All right. So those are the 6 anime that are nominated. First things first, Dandadan. Um, the people who produced it are Science Saru. Is that how you say it?
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, Science Saru is, I said, the people. The production company that produced Dandadan is called Science Saru. If I pronounce the name wrong, I apologize. All right. Some of the other anime made from the studio are Devilman Crybaby and Sanda. Those are really the two main things that I've seen that were low key popular. I mean, everyone's heard of Devilman Crybaby. Me personally, I never heard of Sanda. Have you heard of Sanda, Brandon?
No, never heard
No,
of it.
never heard of Sanda. I ain't gonna lie. Don 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 is probably where they started taking off, and that's with all due respect. I ain't trying to be disrespectful. So I apologize if I feel it. Um, so short introduction to Don Don Don. Basically, it takes place in Minato and Kawagoe, Japan. If I pronounce that wrong, I apologize. The antagonists are basically ghosts that haunt humans and try to possess them so that they can use their powers to their full potential, and aliens who are basically trying to repopulate the Earth. And the show basically shows it in very perverted ways. So if you have kids that are not 16 and up or 18 and older, you might want to reconsider letting your kids watch this. I'm not gonna lie. The three characters, or the three main characters, are Momoe Ayase, Okarun, and Ida Shitori. The only ones that can combat the aliens and the ghosts are people that either have psychic abilities or that have gotten almost possessed by the ghosts, but they sort of fought the possession and still took over their powers. Okarun is a great example of that. Um, General thoughts on the show for me. The show does a really good job at combining romance, action, comedy, and even thriller elements into the show. You don't really see a lot of animes, in my opinion, that are able to combine all those categories into one. Now, comedy, okay, most animes have that, but they don't have it to an extensive level like Dandadan. Dandadan, in every episode, you're gonna get a laugh, you're gonna get some type of thrill, some type of action. All those categories or subcategories are built into one thing, and they do it so perfectly. Um, it low key caught me by surprise how well they're doing it almost every single episode. Brandon, do you want to maybe add to what I'm saying to that?
Yeah, I'll say the romance is probably one of the better things in the show.
Mhm.
Especially, you don't really see that a lot with shonen. Like, you have the greats like Naruto, Dragon Ball, uh, even My Hero nowadays.
Right.
They don't really focus on the romance. It's always, yeah, there might be someone that they're interested in. They don't get together until the epilogue, pretty much.
Exactly. Or they have to do like a whole specific movie or its own episode just to dedicate it to that, like Naruto did with Naruto and Hinata. Um, Almost every episode, like I said, has 2 or 3 of these elements in them. It makes you feel a mixture of emotions within minutes. I mean, you're feeling like sad, happy, excited, like on your toes, like what's gonna happen next, all in one episode. So those mixtures of emotions makes you want to keep watching the show. It helps you anticipate for the next episode. By the time you're like maybe 10 minutes in, you're trying to figure out what's gonna happen next. You know what I mean? So they do a really good job at keeping you on your toes, basically. Um, the anime is basically a love story, like Brandon said. Low key gone bad, which makes it right. Meaning when they first meet, they're sort of like frenemies, in my opinion. Like they're always arguing, but they're trying to fight these ghosts. Like you see them sort of fall in love very slowly but quickly at the same time. It's very hard to explain. There's like times where she feels like okay, like she has some type of feelings towards him, but she's fighting those feelings at the same time. Like she's trying to friend zone him, but she can't. And Okarum just mad awkward. Like bro likes her, but he's right now he's too scared to make a real move. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I think
So
that's just the epitome of like young love as a teen. You know, not really knowing how you're feeling or not knowing how to express it. The show is really good at showing off that, and you can really see when they start to draw towards each other because even in the first
mm,
episode, Okaroon, he has this whole speech where he's like, "Hey, you know, I would give my life for her because she's the only person that acknowledges my existence," which is kind of
yeah.
sad, but like you can tell that hey, even though they're like you said they're frenemies, he said, "Okay, this is someone I would die for."
Or exactly because she's like literally the first person, like you said, to notice him. You know, she's the first person that makes him a friend because he doesn't have any friends. You know what I mean? And with her, through her, he starts befriending more people in the show. I mean, I wouldn't say more people, but you get what I'm trying to say. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like through her, he manages to meet other people and becomes friends with them. So right now, he has a total of 3 friends. Well, 2 friends and then one person he sort of got beef with. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
high school love, a little bit of jealousy here and there. They gotta add a little spice to that. You know what I'm saying? So, character development is amazing. Watching each of them get stronger and learn their powers, with each fight with their lives literally on the line, is low key crazy. Because like you think you'll understand everything about them, like okay, they got this power, they got this power. Then they'll add something else that they can do, and your like mouth just drops like then like they're that powerful. You know what I mean? And then you know that they haven't even reached the full potential of their power yet. Especially Okaroon and Momoe. Like they just haven't reached their full potential yet. I feel like in my opinion, you might disagree. Got like maybe 35% of their power. So, when they drop more episodes and more seasons in, like we're down for a ride, yeah, in my opinion.
yeah.
Do you have anything to add?
I would say that I did read the manga. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I forget where I stopped, but yeah, I think probably if they go up to season 3 or 4, I've read at least that, and the everything is just gonna get bigger over time. Cast of characters, they're gonna make more friends, make more enemies. They're gonna meet more aliens, more ghosts, and of course they're gonna get stronger and they're gonna get closer together as time goes on.
Right.
Um, and I think one of the things that the show really does well, I don't know if you mentioned it, it's really, it is a comedy, also a romance, but it also, I would say it handles mature topics like really
Mm,
well. Like,
right.
without going too into spoilers, you have ghosts that have unfinished business. You have these women that were, you know, taken advantage of
Abused in
and
different ways. Right.
abused and everything. And as ghosts, what they're trying to do is protect the next generation of women, which I think is kind of an interesting concept.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Even Turbo Granny, even though like I said, they do it in the most freaking perverted way. So teenagers, parents, watch out for your kids. All right. But they have once you reach a certain maturity and you're seeing it, you understand what they're really trying to portray and what they're really trying to do by doing that. Right? Like Grandma Attorney wants Okaroon's balls, right? And it sort of sounds weird saying that, but the reason why she wants them is because women have gotten raped around that area, and she's basically the guardian for those women, and that's why she's doing that. Now, why would she target a teenage boy that has no friends and has no life? I don't know. Ask her. But like he said, they do have different quote unquote, in my opinion, grown messages for people who are actually trying to dig a little bit deeper into the show. So you hit a really good point, Brandon. I actually missed that one. So thank you for that. Um, Another thing that they do really good, man, is like they connect you to each of the characters really well. Like you sort of feel not pity towards them, but depending on where you are in life, you feel a connection towards at least one of them, in my opinion, to a certain extent. Right? Their character development and their backstories, man, they're different, right? And each of us has a different life that we're living and different experiences we've been through. And I feel like an anime becomes really successful when the production of the people who made the anime are able to get a character to relate to you, or to where they get you to relate to a character. Not all anime does that. But like I said, Naruto, for example, in Naruto, he was an outcast, right? And then he worked his way up to become accepted by his village. Some people might be in school, they might not have a lot of friends. You know what I'm saying? Then they start making these friends, and they can relate themselves to Naruto or even Sasuke. Sasuke, he has an even harder backstory, in my opinion. Well, about the same, right? He has a brother, Itachi. Itachi kills off basically his whole clan. He doesn't know why yet. You might be able to relate to something that's going on in your family. So they do a really good job at that, being able to relate to the characters, even the antagonists sometimes, depending on the situation. They do a really good job of making you feel bad, not feel bad, but feel sad for the antagonist once you see their backstory. So basically making an enemy a friend. So they're really good at that. The irony in it is pretty strong, but I like that type of stuff. So you want to add anything, B?
No, I think we touched upon everything. Basically, what are your final thoughts on it? What would you recommend it to someone, or yes, no?
Oh, most definitely. I would definitely recommend it to everyone that's trying to get into anime, everyone that watches anime. There really are no, in my opinion, cons to the show besides the fact that you might have to keep your little kids from watching it for now. You know what I mean? But other than that, I love the show. That show I was addicted to that show, man. I knocked that show out in like 2 weeks. So anyone that's trying to get into something, anyone that's trying to look for a new anime to watch, definitely something that you should get into.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I would say probably not the best anime if you're not used to the medium. There are a whole lot of anime-esque tropes that, might be weird if you're not used to it.
Yeah,
But
good point.
I think if you like, romance, action, comedy, it's got it
Thriller.
all. Thriller, yeah, even a little bit of horror. So, but it's got it
Yeah.
all. It's all there. Um, yeah, just like you said, it's for a particular audience that can kind of stomach that. Hey, all these things are happening to teenagers, and a lot of the aliens and the ghosts are trying to
Perverted.
strip them, and they're perverted, which
Yeah.
kind of goes with the deeper themes of the show. But even at face value, that first episode, like, I'm
So
pretty
it is
sure
a
you
little
can
bit
agree.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
When you told, like, listen, guys, when he told me about it, and I haven't watched it yet. When he told me about it, I was like, why would I watch this? Like, what are you talking about? And he told me to give it a chance. I gave it a chance, and I sort of fell in love with the show. I didn't fall in love with the scene. Now, if you fall in love, if you fall in love with the scene, you might need to get some help. But I fell in love with the anime. But at first, I was criticizing him. I was like, you a weirdo. You weird. But I take it back now. The next anime we got is Brendan's gonna hit on this is Delicious in Dungeon.